Now I'm going to test you numerology skills by asking you to think about the magic 7. Okay? Most of you will know that 7 is quite a number in all sorts of themes, religions, and I'm sure that you can compress numbers as well. So, if we think about 2014, all right, I'm just giving you 2014, you drop the 0, 14, 2 times 7. Okay, that's just by way of example, and we're going to carry on. So 2014 will be a milestone and hopefully a magic year in many respects. It will mark the 100th anniversary of the First World War back in 1914. It will mark the 70th anniversary, drop the 0, 7, of the Bretton Woods Conference that actually gave birth to the IMF. And it will be the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. 25th. Okay. It will also mark the 7th anniversary of the financial market jitters that quickly turned into the greatest global economic calamity since the Great Depression. The crisis still lingers. Yet, optimism is in the air. We've left the deep freeze behind us, and the horizon looks just a bit brighter. So my hope and my wish for 2014 is that after those 7 miserable years, weak and fragile, we have 7 strong years. Now, I don't know whether the G7 will have anything to do with it, or whether it will be the G20. I certainly hope that the IMF will have something to do with it.
Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube. Now, I wanted to start the video off with that clip from Christine Lagarde, who at the time was the head of the International Monetary Fund. Much like this magazine you're looking at right here, The Economist, the IMF was also created by the Rothschild family. The Rothschild family is one of the most famous and well-known Illuminati bloodline families from the 13 Illuminati bloodlines. This is just one of the photos that made their way online a few years ago. It's from a party from 1972 from the Rothschild family. So what's interesting with these photos is we find all of these so-called Illuminati symbolism that's so prevalent today in our popular culture. So this, of course, is another way of understanding Illuminati symbolism. There is a language of symbols all around us. We are dealing with the occult. This is hidden in plain sight. Our world really is run and ruled by very high-level Satanists and secret societies, and many of these secret societies are working together. The truth of all of this is being revealed more and more in these days. No longer can things be hidden in the shadows. We really are living in a time where the veil is lifting. So these global Satanists, these global witches and warlocks, they use numerology, they use symbolism, the alignment of planets, rituals. And the Rothschild owned and created magazine The Economist is a prime example of some of this. The last few years, the covers of these magazines have been very cryptic. This one right here is from 2018, of course. The cover of The Economist for 2017, or The World in 2017, really shows this off. There's no hiding it. They're telling us right here. They're literally using tarot cards on the cover of this magazine. I did a decode of this magazine cover, and many other people did as well, so if you're interested, please look those up, and you'll understand a little bit better about how they're coding messages on these magazine covers. And this right here was the cover for The Economist magazine, The World in 2016 version. Again, many people did decodes on this, including myself, so please look some of these up to fill in some of the blanks for yourself. Here's another example I wanted to share. This is from the cover of The Economist, The World in 2015 edition. So just in looking back at some of these covers from the last few years, also once again understanding these people deal in the occult, they deal in numerology. These are sorcerers, these are witches. Understanding all of this, many people were very alarmed by the cover of The Economist for The World in 2019 this year. The fact that it was completely black and white with nothing else on there. So in context, this is a fairly grim message. What were they trying to say? What were they trying to say with the absence of any other imagery? Does this mean game over? Does this mean the event is going to happen in 2019? Well, it turns out that just a few days ago, The Economist actually released a new image for the World in 19 cover, and let's take a look at that. So I'm actually on the website right here for The Economist, and as you can see, they have a new version of the World in 2019. There's a lot of stuff to get into here, so I wanted to kind of take a look at some of this with you. We'll scroll down here and you can see a little more. Even right there at the top, you can see Christine Lagarde is mentioned. She's also in this version of the magazine as well. Let's take a look here. And you can see a lot going on here, right? So once again, keeping in mind, we're dealing with magic practitioners. We're dealing with people who are deeply entrenched in the occult. They try to keep their motives and their agendas hidden in plain sight. This is part of lesser magic. They reveal what they're going to do before they do it, but never outwardly and never right up front. It's hidden. In a sense, it's a way to have the public accept the spell before it's cast. This also falls in line with predictive programming and also to a lesser degree social engineering, imprinting us with what they want to imprint us with. I'll scroll down here a little more and you'll see there's more going on here on the image, and just let you get kind of a basic look, and then we're going to start taking a look at this here. So whenever I first saw this new cover for 2019, there's a few things that stood out right off the bat for me. Right here's one of them. You got the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Can you see that? I kind of blew it up a little bit. You go back, you can see it's right underneath Putin, right? You go back here, and then here's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Perhaps this is why the initial cover for the World in 2019 was just black and white. Now again, this is all speculation. Many of us understand we are living in that season of the end times. I'm certainly no kind of a date setter, and I'm also not a fearmonger about this kind of a thing. I know that it's important for us to be aware of this kind of a thing and to watch the times we're in. But don't live in fear. And on the covers over the last few years, there have also been hints of end times, hints of nuclear explosions and World War III. Speaking of end times and World War III, I thought this was interesting as well. On the cover you have a stork delivering a child. I guess it's assumed to be a child inside the bag there, but with a barcode on it. So immediately I think of the mark of the beast. Is this hinting to us that in 2019 we'll see more on the mark of the beast? It is interesting to consider this story just came out a few months ago. This Swedish company is implanting its employees with microchips. There's also a company in the state of Wisconsin in America that started doing this very same thing just over a year ago, and that'd be national and worldwide news as well. Something else I thought was interesting, you see this image of man right there in the forefront, the man with the 4 different extending arms. And on the right side there, of course, we have the scales of justice tipped one way over the other, and in his other hand he's holding an iPhone or a cell phone. If we look over on the left-hand side, even more interesting, he's got the marijuana leaf in one hand and a baseball down in the other. And to me, when I first saw that, it immediately made me think about America's pastime, how it used to be sports and baseball, and now it's turning into marijuana. So a lot of this really is up for interpretation, and I'm very interested to see the comments and see what you guys think about some of this imagery. I'll leave a link below as well to this image so you can take a look at it for yourself. Also making note that man is in virtual reality. He's got the virtual reality goggles on, and he also has the symbol for DNA over there on the left-hand side as well. We're really seeing the rise of the transhuman agenda right now. The merging of man with machine. We're seeing a lot of this happen as well. Perhaps this is a hint that they're wanting to alter our DNA. But even more interesting, check this out. Look at his chest. He's actually got something written just over his heart. And it's Me Too. So if ever there was a psyop, it's definitely this Me Too. But even more interesting, when we pull back and look at the image as a whole again, you'll see there's some other writing here as well. I'll scroll up a little. You'll see there's other writing on this cover as well. All of it is written backwards, all except for Me Too. So when we look at the images of these magazines, again, we're looking at the symbols, the images alone, but there's more. When we see this backwards writing, this really is an example of kind of their spell casting and also the magic that we're dealing with. It actually goes back to the occult lesson of reversal, or the occult law of reversals. You can look this up. It's interesting. Aleister Crowley spoke a lot about this. Aleister Crowley being one of the most recognized magic practitioners, Satanists, occultists that ever existed in this world, and his reach is all over the place through all forms of popular media, even politics and politicians. He expressed to his students that those who want fame, power, spellcasting abilities, demons at their beck and call, to be able to recognize the Godhead within, as well as to know the past, present, and future, that every one of them must start practicing the occult lesson of reversal, talking in reverse or reverse speech, walking backwards, thinking backwards, playing music backwards, and even writing backwards. All of this is a form of divination. And in speaking of the law of reversals and celebrated Satanists from these high-level occultists, reminds me of Marina Abramovic, who is very much a counterpart, modern-day counterpart to Aleister Crowley. This is a very high-level witch that has connections in Hollywood and also in politics. We saw a lot of this come out in the WikiLeaks. There are high-level Democratic politicians that have attended many of her spirit cooking sessions. So she has the Marina Abramovic Institute. I find it interesting, MAI, but if you do this in reverse, it is I am. And I am is one of the many names of our Heavenly Father, of God Himself. We find this in the Bible. So interesting, again, we find this law of reversal with a modern-day witch, the reverse of I am, MAI. So in speaking of magic and witchcraft and numbers, there's something else very, very important about this particular cover I want to talk about here. So check this out. The world in 2019 will build on 3 decades of publishing success. This will be the 33rd edition. This will be the 33rd edition. Remember, these people deal in numbers. They deal in spells. They deal in rituals. And there is no number that holds more esoteric significance than the number 33. The number 3 is significant in all major religions. There's a trinity for Christians, a triple goddess for the ancient religions. The number 33 was important to secret societies, and it's often concealed within significant literary works. Freemasonry is one of the prime secret societies that join all these occult groups together. The number 33 is the highest rank in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. As I'd mentioned, 3 of the world's greatest religions place great importance on the number 33. The name of Elohim appears 33 times in the opening chapters of Genesis. King David ruled in Jerusalem for 33 years. Jacob had 33 children with Leah. The 33rd time his name is mentioned, he had the vision of a ladder reaching to heaven, Jacob's ladder. After the circumcision of her child, the mother was considered unclean for 33 days and could not enter the temple. In the Christian faith, Jesus is recorded as performing 33 miracles before his death at the age of 33, and this all took place in the year AD 33. The Vatican recognizes 33 doctors of the Church. Also at the Vatican, St. Peter's Basilica has 33 chapels. According to many Islamic theologians, when people reach heaven, they will exist permanently in a state of being at the age of 33. Islamic prayer beads are typically 33 beads on a string, and often 3 bead strings are worn together representing the 99 names of God. And of those 99 names, the 33rd name actually means supreme glory. Many people believe that the Rig Veda is possibly one of the oldest written books in the entire world. In Hinduism, it's considered sacred text. In it, it describes the 33 divinities. The number 33 in the Rig Veda is another text. It states that there are 11 gods in heaven, 11 on earth, and 11 in between. 33. In Buddhism, Kuan Yin is a goddess. She is sacred in both Chinese and Japanese Buddhism. She's a goddess of compassion and fertility. And like Mary in the Christian tradition, She is said to aid souls to get to nirvana. She is often depicted holding a child, very much like depictions of Mary and the baby Christ. She assumes 33 appearances. According to the Lotus Sutra, she undergoes 33 transformations to help attain salvation. And in Japan, she is Genin, and worshippers may take the, quote, pilgrimage to the 33 holy places of Genin. The Tibetan Book of the Dead has 33 heavens, ruled by Indra, and 33 ruled by Mara. Indra is accepted in Tibet, China, and Japan as their guardian deity. In India, he is depicted riding an elephant with 33 heads and 33 tusks. We can go way further back. Even looking at the ancient city of Babylon is very near the 33rd degree latitude line, while modern Baghdad is on the 33rd parallel. This area was once thought to be the Garden of Eden. If you were to head west, the line passes through Damascus, Beirut, and onto two Templar castles, one exactly on the 33rd latitude, the other at 32.71, or 33 rounding up. We can even cross the ocean on the 33rd parallel, and it brings us to Charleston, South Carolina. And the city is the original site of Scottish Rite Freemasonry in the United States. Albert Pike is a famous Freemason. He was a 33rd degree Mason who rose to be Sovereign Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite. There's actually a statue of him in South Carolina. He's considered both a hero and an embarrassment to modern Masonry, as it's believed he founded. The letter K is the 11th letter in the alphabet, so 11 plus 11 plus 11 gives us our 33. And even more interesting, we can go to Dallas, Texas, where of course President Kennedy was assassinated. And not only is that also on the 33rd parallel, but also the date of 11/22 adds up to 33. There's also the secretive Club 33 at Disney World. It's also interesting to note that when the two threes are put together facing each other, they offer a design that is said to represent the ancient Hermetic maxim of as above, so below. The heavens mirror the earth, the spirit reflects humankind. The concept is very important in Freemasonry, but the significance is recognized far and wide. And those are just some of the interesting connections with the number 33. It really is a powerful occultic number, and one you can look into for yourself if you're interested. Again, we're dealing with people that deal with numbers, with rituals, with spells and incantations. So to me, it's incredibly important to understand their language as best we can. So we see the occult practice on the world in 2019 of the backwards writing. We also have the number 33 connection there, and there are plenty of symbols to look into. So let's have some fun with this one. This is one of those subjects that we can all explore together. As I said, I'll leave a link below. I hope you'll go check this out for yourself. Share with us what you find. I really look forward to the comments section. I imagine it's going to be a really active one. Share what you find, take a look, have some fun with this, and let's explore this together. So until next time, guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. Take care of yourselves out there, alright? And I'll talk to you a little later.